Good afternoon, everyone. It's Jed Brown here from Low Season Traveller, and I hope you're all well and healthy and coping okay with the lockdown, home working, homeschooling, and all of that kind of carry on. Well, here at Low Season Traveller, we know that we can't travel anywhere just now, but we can plan and dream and be inspired as we research places which we'd like to visit in the future. And this is what we're aiming to do this week. So you're all very welcome to this first special series which we've prepared for you. This week, we're going to learn a little more about one of the most sought-after bucket list experiences as we discover what you can expect from the Golden Triangle Tour of India. Every day, we're going to be going live at this time at 2 p.m. GMT for about 15 minutes as we speak to our highly experienced tour guide, Mr. Anil Bahal, who's been a tour guide for over 20 years, by the way, to learn more about what you'll experience in each destination on this bucket list tour of India during the low season months, of course. The tour which we'll be following is featured on the lowseasontraveller.com website, and we'll be unveiling our special low season prices and offers on Sunday, the 31st of January at 2 o'clock during our final show in this series. So our schedule for the week is as follows. So today, at 2 p.m, of course, we head to Delhi as we arrive for our tour and spend our first 3 days in this amazing city. Tomorrow, again at 2 p.m, we head over to Agra this time, home of the famous Taj Mahal. Then on Wednesday, we head over to the pink city of Jaipur. On Thursday, we head to the Venice of the East, Udaipur. Then on Thursday, we head down south as we fly to the home of Bollywood, Mumbai. On Saturday, we then start to talk about the possible extensions which you might want to do after your Golden Triangle tour. And on those, we're going to include Goa, Kerala, Ranthambore, which of course is the home of the largest number of Bengal tigers in the wild. And then we're going to round things up on Sunday, where we'll be joined by our friends at the Taj Hotel Group, who'll help us to get to know each of the hotels that we'll be staying in during this tour a little bit better before wrapping up our Indian adventure. But before we start though, I'd just like to give a huge shout out to our very good friends and partners at Sita India. I first came across at Sita when I worked for Kuoni, as they arranged all of the tours for Kuoni in India, and it was apparent that Sita offered the very best in terms of service, quality and expertise. Sita have been creating these tours for over 50 years, and they've got an unparalleled reputation as being the finest tour company in India, if not the entire Indian subcontinent, actually. And it's testament to Sita's commitments to both the environment and sustainable practices that they were among the very first to partner with us here at Low Season Traveller, as they shared our aims in proactively promoting low season tourism as a means of ensuring that tourism could be more sustainable for future generations. So we're incredibly proud to be working with Sita, because in addition to everything else, they are genuinely lovely people to work with too. So we're a really good team and we're really proud to be working with them. But for now though, let's crack on with our tour as we head over to Delhi for our first 3 days. Enjoy. So that was a sort of a short video just to give us a little bit of an overview. An overview of what we've got. So on the very first day, of course, we arrive into Delhi International Airport, and we got up this photograph not to show an overall view of an airport, because I think we're all familiar with airports. But this is one of the things that you first see when you arrive, isn't it, Anil?
Yes, you are. As you're actually there are 9 hand gestures. They are called mudras, and they form a very integral part of Indian classical dancing. They're also part of yoga and meditation. It's supposed to channelize your energy. No. So, and they're also part of Buddhism. So Buddha used, the mudras as well. So this is very much India. The minute you see these mudras, you are in India.
You do, and as soon as you get into Delhi International Airport there, I think it's just near where you're going through passport control. This picture that everybody can see here, there's a huge wall of these with all of the mudras on, and you just feel immediately, I've arrived in India, which is...
so this particular mudra is called Trishul, Trishul, which is the Trinity. And so it's representing the Trinity. So that's the name of the mudra here.
Love that. So on our first day, when we get into Delhi, some of the sites that we will be expected to see in Delhi, this is one of the first stops that we'll see, isn't it, Anil?
Yes, so Delhi is actually a very fine hybrid of old and new, past and present. It's a twin living city. So on the first day, you go into Old Delhi, which is a walled city from 1639. And standing right in the heart of the old city is the Grand Mosque, Jama Masjid, which is a classic example of an open-air mosque. Takes a congregation of 25,000 people, and walking into that open-air courtyard is quite an amazing experience. You're right there in the heart of Old Delhi, or the soaring minarets, those classical, Moorish domes, reminds very much of Alhambra, if you have been there. Mm-hmm. Old Delhi, the sites very much, reminiscent of Alhambra.
I love it. So, it looks absolutely beautiful in that light as well, doesn't it?
Yes, it's actually great to do this, to come in summers or low season, because you don't have that many foreign tourists. Yes, there might be domestic tourists, but that's all part of the experience. And I have to tell you, the light, is absolutely brilliant. So if you are a photographer, you cannot ask for a better light to take your pictures. Coming in, Indian summers or in monsoon, especially, I'm going to talk about monsoon at Taj Mahal. It's absolutely exhilarating.
I love
so that. So that's Jama Masjid, the biggest mosque of India.
Yep.
As we come out of the mosque, we often say, you don't come to India on a holiday, you come here for an experience. Mm-hmm. And to get that experience, you have to be right into the heart of things. And there's no better way of taking in the sights, the smells, and the sounds than be on one of these pedal tricycle rickshaws. So it's 2 people on a rickshaw, and these rickshaws take you through these winding lanes and alleys of Old Delhi. Some of them are no wider than maybe like 6 to 8 feet, which means barely a rickshaw can cross each other. But you go through these, markets with this, the wedding paraphernalia, the saris. Oh my God, those colors are a real assault on your senses. And then you're in the spice market. Smells can really get you. You really cannot describe it in words. You just have to be there. You have to take in the experience. You just do not know. It's like watching a motion picture.
Is it scary? Because it's we've all sort of seen pictures. We know that Delhi has, as any big city does have, it has a lot of traffic, and I think there's probably a few people looking at this thinking, well, is it safe enough and everything else? And I will say at this point as well, because I have been fortunate enough to be to Delhi a few times, and there is an awful lot of traffic. And to me, sometimes I think, gosh, I could never drive here. Over the years, I thought, do you know what? I think Indian drivers are probably among the best drivers in the world, because how they don't hit each other in the cars. But is it dangerous to take these rickshaws, or is it okay?
It's not dangerous at all. You know, the first few seconds that you're on the rickshaw, you might feel a bit scared. But, you know, once the rickshaws start moving, you realize that they're going at a very slow pace.
Yeah.
You know, and these rickshaw drivers have been doing it for ages.
Yeah.
So they really know, you know, their way around, you know. And after a while, it's so immersive. You know, you just feel, you know, you just forget everything about, you know, around you.
Yeah.
So yes, the first few, you know, seconds,
great,
you know, you
great
could
way.
be scared, but after that, it's an absolute amazing experience. A must do in Delhi. It is a must do.
Absolutely, great way to immerse yourself into India straight away on day one. That's probably one of the best things that you could do.
Yeah.
Next, we do a drive past, if I'm right.
Yes, we do a drive past Red Fort because, you know, as you know, in good humor, we say you get forted out, you know, on the Golden Triangle tour. And since the Red Fort for Delhi happens to be a cosmetic fort, a smaller version to the one in Agra, which is truly spectacular, we drive past the fort, but it's you know, it's an iconic building. Was the residence of the Mughal emperors, built between 1639-48, and on the 15th of August 1947, it was from the ramparts of the fort that Jawaharlal Nehru, our first prime minister, you know, unhurled the Indian tricolor and gave that famous, you know, speech, which is recorded in one of the 100 greatest speeches of the world.
Yep. So
every year on the 15th of August, the same, you know, is repeated. So it is a landmark building, but, you know, a drive-through, drive past, a panoramic, a photo stop.
Yeah, lovely, lovely, lovely building. One of the next stops is Rajghat.
Yes, you have to say that, you know, how can you come to India and not remember Mahatma Gandhi?
Yes, of course.
You know, you do have to go and pay respect, you know, to one of the greatest, you know, pacifists, you know, of the world. So just outside Old Delhi is the site where Mahatma Gandhi was, you know, cremated, unfortunately, on his assassination. So that black marble, you know, or granite slab is the exact site, you know, where the cremation took place. It's a very simple setting, completely in harmony, you know, with the character of Mahatma Gandhi. So it's a very austere, you know, setting, and you know, the energy that you feel there reminds one of Mahatma Gandhi's presence. So yes, again,
I get goosebumps just looking at that. I would imagine that's quite a spiritual experience, actually.
Yes, it is. You have to. That's what I say. It just reminds, you know, you can feel his presence there, you know. So that, yes, coming out of the, especially after doing the rickshaw ride, the chaos of Old Delhi, you know, it is like an oasis. You know,
calm it down again.
Yeah.
Super. Of course, probably one of the, I think outside of the Taj Mahal, is it fair to say that this is probably one of the most iconic buildings as well in India?
It is. You know, it's India Gate, you know, the War Memorial, part of, you know, Lutyens, Delhi. So as we were, you know, Delhi is a twin living city. So New Delhi is the colonial Delhi, you know, from 1911 going into 1930s. So India Gate is the War Memorial. So what Arc de Triomphe would be for Paris, you know, India Gate is for Delhi, you know, the War Memorial. Another iconic building.
Is that what you would sort of, if you were looking to sort of define the dead center of Delhi, is that probably the nearest that you would come to it?
Yes, you would. This is right in the heart of the city. So every time you want to go from north to south, east to west, you actually have to go through central Delhi, which is, you know, this big. So at this, India Gate actually stands in the center of a roundabout, which is the biggest roundabout in Asia.
Oh, wow.
And if you're standing, you know, and if you're looking through the archway, exactly a mile across, you know, is the presidential palace, flanked by the secretarial blocks, you know. So if you're coming from South Africa, you know, it would remind you of Pretoria.
Yeah.
You know, if you're coming from US, it would remind you of Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a very fine, it's just a beautiful, you know, layout, you know, very spacious, flanked by the offices, federal and offices. So you could say it's also the bureaucratic hub of India, the administrative hub.
I must say, it looks resplendent in that sort of sunset, soft glow as well, doesn't it?
Yes, that's what I was talking about. That's the whole charm of coming. At that time of the year.
Absolutely. The next stop we have is Qutb Minar.
Yes, this is all the way to the southern part of Delhi. So Qutb Minar is the tallest, brick structure, a brick minaret in the world. It was the first Islamic monument, of India, one of the first Islamic monuments of India. Mm-hmm. And you can say it is a true landmark of Delhi. So like Agra is synonymous with Taj Mahal. Jaipur has its own sites. If you wanted to choose one monument which would truly reflect Delhi, that's Qutb Minar, because there's none other minaret like this anywhere in India.
Wow.
So every time you think of Delhi, think of Qutb Minar.
Qutb Minar. Love it.
Yes.
We then go on to Humayun's tomb.
Humayun's tomb. This is where you basically end your day, or you do it in the middle, depending upon the how you are taking a tour. But Humayun was the second Mughal emperor. He was the great grandfather of Shah Jahan, and his tomb in Delhi predates the Taj by approximately 8 years. So we can say it is a precursor to the Taj Mahal. So this is a bud, that bloomed at Taj Mahal. So it makes a great build-up to your visit of the Taj Mahal. And I have to tell you that both the Qutb Minar and the Humayun's tomb are UNESCO sites. So they are World Heritage Monuments. And this is a classic example of a garden tomb. It stands in a sprawling garden. So again, it is almost like a sea of tranquility in the middle of a big, busy city with all the traffic and noise.
Yeah, it's on this one. I'm going to see if I can just make this a little bit larger, just so that people can see the intricate detail, because it's really quite something. Hopefully, people can see that a little bit clearer. But it's incredibly intricate, the detail all the way around the outside of that tomb as well.
Yeah, the two main features here are garden tomb and the symmetry. The symmetry, it's a perfect square.
Yeah.
So the view from one side is the same from the other three remaining sides.
Yeah.
And yes, you're right. Fortunately, it was taken over, it has been restored with funds provided by our Contrast, and they've done a fabulous job of restoration.
Oh, really
fabulous job.
Absolutely awesome. The hotel that we're going to be staying in New Delhi is the Taj Palace. We won't dwell too long on that, Anil, because we've got Meenakshi, who's going to be joining us later on from Taj, and she's going to talk us through a little bit more about the hotels. But fair to say, it's a beautiful looking hotel. I haven't stayed in it myself. Have you stayed in that one, Anil?
I stayed at Taj Palace. It's a beautiful hotel. It has a really spacious lobby. The rooms are really big. Has some really iconic restaurants right in the heart of New Delhi. So easy to commute from here to the main sites as well as central Delhi. So it's an ideal location.
Yeah,
beautiful
perfect.
Hotel.
And that's it for today's episode. Please do join myself and Anil tomorrow at 2 p.m. as our tour continues and we head over to Agra and the mesmerizing Taj Mahal.